All right. So I had a pretty good weekend. I had a long day. We went to the bar for the Chiefs game. A best friend of mine and my dad went there, and then we decided to stay for the Saints and the Rams game because we had pretty high hopes at that point that the Rams were going to get beat, which they did. Spoiler alert. So I came home, got drowsy, fell asleep at about 10 o'clock, and now I'm wide awake at 6. We went to Cleveland, and it just so happens that Cleveland's defense, according to NFL, is one rank above ours. But anyways, I just thought that was kind of a laughable stat that I'd throw out there. Um, Defense didn't play too horrible for being on the road. Hear me out on that. They didn't play too bad for being on the road. Our defense usually plays just good enough to get by on the road. They played a little bit better this time around. Of course, my dog decides it's time to eat. Anthony Hitchens played a little bit. He didn't play the entire game. He came in on and off, and there was concerns that he was hurting in some areas because he has that severely bruised rib. I don't know why the hell they're even taking the chance on him. Just leave him. We got the Browns and the Cardinals the next 2 games. Rest him for the Rams. Okay, the Rams are coming up. Keep him on the sidelines, man. We're gonna need him for the Rams game. And by the way, I want to throw something out before I get too far into this video. Some of these people on Facebook are, and I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse with this, that are on Chiefs Kingdom fan page and Patrick Mahomes fan page, stuff like that. Look, I am not perfect on predictions. I do not know everything there is to know about football, but being as I've watched it my entire life, I've played it, I got a pretty good idea. And I mean, just like the Rams. I said it. They were overrated. They were getting way too much credit for beating football teams that weren't very good. And what happened? Well, they should have got beat by Green Bay. There's really no. I mean, if you think that Aaron Rodgers would have got that football and went 3-and-out, you're out of your mind. I mean, they're terrible. I'm sorry. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. Sean McVay made the stupid ass decision to run it on a 3rd and 13 instead of going for the end zone, like a normal coach would, like a normal coach would do when you're down by 1 point against Aaron Rodgers with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. You go for the end zone. Why would you want to make it a 2-point lead? You really think your defense, after giving Aaron Rodgers 27 points, is going to keep him off the 50-yard line? No. There's Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and somewhat of Patrick Mahomes right now. There are very few defenses in this league, especially this year when defenses aren't that great anyways, that can keep those guys from getting in the end zone with that minimal time left, let alone keeping them out of field goal range. Sean McVay, horrible decision. What? Don't run it on a 3rd and 16. Go for the end zone. That's the kind of conservative shit that gets you beat in the playoffs. You want to know how I know? This is how I know. Pittsburgh, Tennessee, yeah. This is how I know. That conservative shit, Dick Vermeil, it gets you beat in the playoffs by guys like that. If Ty Montgomery done fumble that football, the Rams lose that game last week. Period. That's just, I mean, that's not a fact. because it didn't happen, but there was a pretty damn good chance of it. Aaron Rodgers just went down the field right before that. The guy was hot. He was at least getting a field goal out of it. They would have won by 1. And then this week they played the Saints. And here's a little bit of a spoiler. I know it's a recap video, but I might as well just say this now that I'm on the topic. The Saints smoked the ass in right off the Rams in the first half. I believe it was 35-17 going into half. Completely blew them out in the first half. Ultimately, that's what beat them. Now, the Saints kind of pulled a Kansas City there at the end, and they got a little bit conservative, and it allowed the Rams to come back and let's see, yeah, they tied the game. And then the Saints came back. They put another 7 on the board, or they put 3 on the board to go ahead, and then their defense forced a 3 and out, and they went back down and scored a touchdown, and they won by 10. I mean, it was really, I mean, granted, the Rams kind of came back in the second half. Usually that's what happens when a team gets up that, gets ahead by that much. Carolina, Tampa Bay, same situation. They got up 35-14 at half. Kansas City, San Francisco, same thing. The Rams were beat at halftime. I mean, here you go. There's your proof. There's your proof. And Sean McVay did the same things. They get the ball back down by 3. You know what? Let's run it on a 3rd and 8. They won't expect that. I'm telling you, stupid shit like that will get you beat by better teams. I'm just saying. Do I think the Rams have better talent than they do coaching? Yeah, I do actually. I do. Because if they've been, I don't watch the Rams, but if they've been making play calls like that all season and they're winning like that, yeah, their talent's definitely better than their coaching. People give Sean McVay all this credit and stuff. He walked into talent. He was he was offered a contract to walk into talent. Talent didn't find him. He didn't find talent. The talent found him. And that's the same coaching that got him beat in the first round last year, and it'll probably be the same coaching that gets him beat in the first round this year. Because they'll play a close game, and then they'll think, well, 3rd and 16, we don't want to take a chance by throwing it in the end zone and getting it picked off. So let's just take our 3 points and go up by 1, and that better quarterback's going to go down the field and beat them. It's probably going to happen. I can't say it will happen because it may not. But there's a decent chance. Now, anyways, back to this Kansas City game. The defense was a little bit shaky. We had a lot of rookies starting this week, and I think they played pretty decent, for some of them being their first game. Dario Daniel, it was his first game starting. And they did decent. We got a fumble there at the start of the second half, which didn't count because D Ford was offsides, whatever. But the offense played like they usually do. Travis Kelce was just tearing people apart. Kareem Hunt was tearing people apart. The screen passes were working. Offense clicked same way they usually do. No change. Somebody threw a dog mask at one of our linemen, and he picked it up and heaved it back into the stands. I thought that was pretty funny. All in the stands. So, offense, pretty typical. Sammy Watkins was kind of limping near the end of the game. He has a history for ankle injuries. He was kind of limping. They taped his ankle. He never went back in, though. Personally, my personal opinion, rest him next week. Don't play him against Arizona. Save him for the Rams, because that Rams game is going to be a redemption game for Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is going to go into that game, and that's going to be that's the former team that let him go. They thought he wasn't good enough to play on the team, so they let him go. So it's his chance to roast the team that let him go. And not only that, it's his chance to prove that we are better than the Rams, because everybody says we're not. Uh, if the Rams can't score more than 35 points, they're not beating the Chiefs. Their defense isn't going to stop us. I'm sorry. Um, Marcus Peters has been getting murdered on the corners. I mean, the Saints destroyed that guy. And the Saints aren't the only ones doing it either. There's a reason why Marcus Peters got traded by Kansas City after last year. Yeah, he was great before that. He was great. It's like Josh Norman. Look at all the talent that Josh Norman had around him. The defense made Josh Norman better. Josh Norman didn't make the defense better. The defense made him better. It's the same way. It's the same exact way for Marcus Peters. When the defense fell apart last year, he fell apart. He didn't make the defense better. The defense made him better. And then you take him and put him in LA, it's the same situation. It's the same situation. He's got what? 1 interception all year, 2 interceptions, something like that. Yeah, Kendall Fuller's got 1. So, I mean, it's nothing special, you know, and Tyreek Hill used to roast that guy in minicamp. He's not good against speed. He proved that. Brandon Cooks fried him, and some other kid fried him. So, it is what it is. Defense had a turnover. I think they should have had 2, minus the fumble. There was a couple interceptions that got dropped. Actually, I think they did have 2 picks, and they had a blocked punt. So they caused turnovers. I mean, there was a lot of rookies playing, but they caused turnovers, which is good. That's what you want to see. Mahomes did a great job spreading the ball around, like always. But as I said, we got Arizona next week. You know, the guys that are injured, rest those guys. Let them rest. Let them be. And then rest them for the Rams game, because that's when we're going to need them. And as I said before, that Rams game, it's going to be a shootout, man. It's not going to be a lightweight battle. It's going to be a heavyweight battle of the offenses. And Jared Goff, he looked good early on in the game. You know, he's keeping up with Drew Brees, but as the game went on and the offense kept scoring, just like I said was going to happen, the pressure started to eat him up. The pressure got put off. Todd Gurley wasn't running that great in the second half, or near the end of the first half, into the second half, and that put more pressure on Jared Goff, and he couldn't perform. Jared Goff is not a Drew Brees. He's not elite. You know, Patrick Mahomes has been playing with the pressure on him all season because of the defense, so he's used to it by now. Jared Goff is just kind of, well, we've been beating up these 1-6 teams by 37 points and whatever, you know. The point is, he got the pressure put on him and he couldn't do it. He failed. And if you're going to have a high-octane offense and your defense isn't that great, well, that's where the problems come in. You got to have a quarterback that can operate under pressure. If you don't, you end up like that. So going into Arizona next week, it's the same process as, what we got going on here. Arizona's coming off of a bye week. It could be another trap game. There's no reason why Kansas City shouldn't win this one either. I think they played fairly decent against Cleveland. There was a couple opportunities where we could have scored more points, but it wasn't really necessary. Typical Andy Reid thing. We had some chances to stop Cleveland on 4th downs, and we failed to do so. There was some shoving going on, some unsportsmanlike conduct penalties and stuff like that kind of kept them going from time to time. And I remember there was one play early in the game on a 4th down where Duke Johnson took off on a wheel route out of the backfield, and Breeland Speaks, who isn't the fastest linebacker, but he's a good player nonetheless, got caught up on the receiver trying to get out to him, and it left Duke Johnson wide open. But once again, Mahomes set another record. He's tied with Andrew Luck for 8 straight 300-yard games. He's also the first player in history to go through uh, 9 games with, what does he have now? 29. What does he have now? 29 passing touchdowns. He had 26 last week. Yeah, so he's got 29 touchdown passes. I think 6 or 7 interceptions, maybe 8. But you combine the yardage with the touchdowns, and that's the most by any player through the first 9 games of the season. And he's also trying to break Andrew Luck's record next week of 9 consecutive 300-plus passing games. I mean, this kid, he's out to break every record, and he's in the MVP race. And I mean, it's looking really good right now. The offense just doesn't slow down. They keep finding these game plans, and but to be fair to the defenses, you can't really prepare for them. It's tough. If you stop Kareem Hunt, you're not going to stop Sammy Watkins. You're not going to stop Tyreek Hill. You're not going to stop Kelsey. If you stop one of those other guys, the other guy's going to shine. I mean, it's just every game it's somebody different that's tearing the field up. That's just the way it's been. So another good week, another good win. Division rivals, Denver lost again to Houston. Spoiler alert. And the Chargers got past Seattle in another semi-lucky win. Nonetheless, they won again, but they kind of surprised me on that. I figured Seattle would beat them, but Seattle kind of shot themselves in the foot at the end of the game. Otherwise, I think they had a pretty good chance to pull it out. But once again, man, Patrick Mahomes, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, an interception, or maybe it was 4. Hell, I can't remember now. I think 3. But again, another good week, another win. I'll be on here tomorrow night for the recap.